What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And man, this whole what if situation, it's just so funny, man. It's just so hilarious that this is what Lucasfilm is sitting out here, thinking about. The fact that this thing could even be a thing is so funny and it's so hilarious, but it's so typical of this company right now and where it's at. The what if scenario. What if, they fired Kathleen Kennedy? That's the number one what if. After she completely destroyed the franchise, what if they fired this woman like they should have done, probably 6-7 years ago? Or, hey, how about this one? What if George Lucas never sold Star Wars in the first place? Whoa, man, Star Wars might still be one of the great franchises in the world instead of sitting on the bottom of the ocean where it's currently at. What if they actually had good, competent filmmakers, writing Star Wars these days? What if they actually brought in great filmmakers that love the franchise, and not trying to push some forces female crap? What if they did that? What if they actually brought Han, Luke, and Leia back together again for one last adventure, which is what everybody wanted? What if they did that? Star Wars might still be the number one franchise. I was telling somebody this the other day. Star Wars and Marvel, right? Those are the two big franchises that Disney owns. And even up until the point where The Force Awakens came out, even though Marvel had already done a lot with the Avengers and everything like that, none of those films hit $2 billion. But what did hit $2 billion was The Force Awakens. Why? Because Star Wars speaks to us in a way that Marvel just didn't. And that's not taking anything away from Marvel, but Star Wars was the bigger franchise. And the fact that these clowns have screwed it up royally, the domestic box office that The Force Awakens set should tell you everything you need to know. It almost hit $1 billion in just the domestic market alone. That shows you how big Star Wars was and how hungry people were for good Star Wars and how we were hoping that this would do the job. Everybody and their mamas came out to watch that film. And what happened? Oh, well, we dropped the ball and then we dropped the ball again and then we could just continue to drop the ball all the way down the line. And here we are. Now we're talking about what if. And the jokes just write themselves at this point. What if they got competent filmmakers to actually make Star Wars? What if they fired Kathleen Kennedy? Oh my God, where would Star Wars be right now if they did all of that crap? What if they actually said, you know what, Dave Filoni, just stick to the cartoons, bro. Just stick to the cartoons, man. That's what you're good at. You good at cartoons. Stay in your lane. What if they told Dave Filoni that? Stay in your lane, bro. Get off of this live action stuff. Chief Creative Officer, are you joking? Bro, you lucky we allow you to be in the room, man. Just get over there to the cartoons and shut your ass up. What if we did that? What if they said that to Dave Filoni instead of elevating him all the way up to Chief Creative Officer? It's just hilarious, man. But yeah, this is what they're talking about doing. They're talking about doing some dumbass what if series because that's what we are looking for right now. We need to know what if they did this with this character or this with that character when they should be saying, what if we just never made any of this crap? What if the sequel trilogy just didn't exist? Hell, it feels like we're living in a what if, doesn't it? It feels like we're just living out what if when it comes to Star Wars every single day. It's like we're living in an alternate timeline. I want to live in the timeline where Star Wars is still great. I want to live in that timeline instead of the what if timeline where, it's like, hey, what if they hired Kathleen Kennedy to do this? Ha, 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 ha. I want to live in the other timeline, the timeline where Kathleen Kennedy doesn't get hired, the timeline where George Lucas, finds a worthy successor to hand Lucasfilm to, and they continue to make great content. Indiana Jones as well as Star Wars. I want to live in that timeline instead of the what if timeline that we're living in, because we're living in the shitty timeline. We're living in the timeline that nobody wants to live in, where Hollywood is just completely broken, woke, and destroyed. That's the timeline we're living in. I don't want to live here, But God, man, it's like, it's just like I said, it's funny. The jokes write themselves. Let's check it out on Twitter. Yeah, Hollywood Handle was talking about it. The what-if version of Star Wars is reportedly in the works at Disney. That's Daniel RPK. People asking oh, what if Rey never bypassed the compressor? Yeah, this whole scene, man. It's like this type of crap should have never happened in the first place, man. Good God almighty. People asking like, what if Obi-Wan died and not Qui-Gon? Need a what if the Jedi Council never turned their back on Ahsoka or Anakin, really. I mean, you could say the same about Anakin. What if Anakin won on Mustafar? Like all of that good stuff, that people probably could ask her. Oh, what if Han and Leia had 3 kids, Jaina, Jason, and Anakin? I mean, yeah. What if we actually got like, the EU instead of the shit you, which is what we ended up with. Okay, we ended up with shit you. I mean, it's just like, why can't we get what we should have got, which is what everybody wanted, man? God damn, man. What if Disney had an original idea? I mean, again, the jokes just write themselves, folks. They set themselves up for this. What if the sequel trilogy didn't exist? That's the one I want to know. I want to live in that timeline. Hey, Disney, do this episode, okay? What if the sequel trilogy didn't exist? And see all the happy Star Wars fans that are just high-fiving and squeezing and hugging and loving each other, and we can't wait for the next movie to come out. The viewership in the box office is just through the roof. Like, that's what would have happened, but of course, we live in shit you timeline. Man. What if Jar Jar Binks rose to become a Sith and the Emperor? I mean, people just, write nonsense. What if Anakin didn't become Vader? Yeah, I mean, again, all of that stuff could have been done if this was an interesting universe, if people actually cared about the universe, but right now, nobody cares about this stuff. This stuff is good and interesting. Hey, man, what if this happened or what if that happened? That would have been fun to tell, But no, not now. Not now, Star Wars. Not now, Kathleen and Dave. No, nobody's going to care about this. All this is going to be is nothing but joke central. And you deserve it, man. Yeah, what if Anakin sucked at pod racing, C-3PO was a girl, and Jabba was skinny? Hey, look, we might get some of this shit, okay? What if C-3PO was a girl? Hey, man, don't give these cats no ideas, man. What if Star Wars is even worse? I mean, that's what it is, man. That's what it is. Ain't that what this is? Nah, this is Visions. Yeah, Visions is kind of a what if, but it's not the same, It's just stories in the Star Wars universe that's really not brought into the real canon, that kind of thing. It's just interesting stories. Why are they injecting multiverse into everything? People are sick of 1,000%, man. That's the main thing, is that the multiverse doesn't work. Nobody cares about the multiverse. It doesn't work in Marvel. Okay? It doesn't work in Marvel. The multiverse saga has proved that nobody cares about a multiverse. And so it's almost like, how do you figure out what to do with Star Wars from here? Because the only way to fix Star Wars is to somehow make it a multiverse. It's to somehow shit can the sequel trilogy, retcon it by saying, well, that was a dream or some other shit, something like that. It didn't really happen, That's absolutely, yeah. Isn't that what the sequels were? Yeah, like I said, we're living in a what if timeline. What if they went away from George Lucas's treatments, What if because that's the thing, man. George Lucas gave them the blueprint for 7, 8, and 9. What if Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Kathleen didn't stab the maker in the back? What if they didn't stab George Lucas in the back? And they just said, no, we're going to go ahead and make your shit, George. We are going to give you your flowers. We're going to give you your last thing. Even though you're not going to be making it, we're going to pay you that kind of respect. And we're going to let you make 7, 8, 9. Or we're going to make the 7, 8, 9 you wanted to see before we go off and do our own shit. That's what we're going to do. What if that happened? What if they said, hey, you know what? We're going to pay homage and respect to the guy that created the thing. Instead of pissing all over his ideas, throwing them in the garbage, and just running off and doing what they wanted to do. And then killing off Han, Luke, and Leia in the process. We should have got Han, Luke, and Leia for one last adventure. One last hurrah. Hey, get the gang back together. One last adventure. And then let them go out as heroes. And then you can hand it off to the next crew. Let them go out as the heroes that they are. Instead of one guy getting killed by his son and then the other one abandoning the entire damn galaxy. Abandoning all of his friends and all of that crap. It says, I mean, listen, guys, we are never going to get the Star Wars that we want. Is it a possibility that they can bring the franchise back? Sure, but they got to fire everybody and they got to bring in competent people that know what George Lucas's vision is and then move forward from that. Other than that, man, all of this crap isn't going to work. All right. The only what if Star Wars is interested in is what if Bob Iger made the next sequel trilogy that George Lucas made. Exactly. I just literally said that and I didn't read that before. I literally just feel like, what if they did this? That's the one that they should have done. They should have just gave George Lucas his flowers and said, yo, George, Here you go, man. Here you go. We're going to make your movies, the ones that you wanted to make, we're going to make them joints. We're going to make all 3 of them before we run off and do our own shit. And we're going to pay you homage, pay you the love that you deserve as the creator of one of the biggest and greatest franchises in the history of the world. That's what we're going to do. You know, we bought your shit. We're going to give you your respect. But nah, that's not what they want to do with George Lucas. So, yeah, this thing is just going to be another disaster. All the people screaming, yes, 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 please. What if we still cared? They have absolutely killed this franchise, and it's because of dumb moves like this and just not understanding things. This is such a brain dead. These people are oblivious. They're so dense. They're so dense. And they're just trying shit at this point. Oh, well, Marvel did this and it worked for Marvel. Why don't we do something like that? Yeah, you don't do something like that because it ain't Star Wars and it don't work. You know, and I know people are going to say, well, you know, they did the one Star Wars What If comics and all that kind of. I get that, okay? But that's wrong. That's the wrong move right now, okay? That's something you do when your franchise is healthy. The franchise is dead. It's at the bottom of the ocean. Good God, man. Grow a brain over there at Lucasfilm. Can y'all try to grow a brain? What if these people had brains, you know? What a different world we might be looking at. Anyway, folks, what do y'all think about this situation? Again, the jokes just write themselves. And, you know, it's just sad to see the state of Star Wars right now where Lucasfilm has brought themselves to this. But, you know, they have nobody to blame but themselves. You guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.